Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be a first impression on the Rimmel Lasting Finish 25 Hour Foundation. And this is a foundation from the drugstore that actually you guys requested me to do. I asked you guys which foundation I should do on Twitter and Instagram. It was between this and the Maybelline Matte and Poreless Foundation, and all of you said to do the Rimmel one. So that's why I'm here doing this one. I've got this for about $8 at Ulta, but you can probably get it cheaper at places like Target and Ulta. And I also have this shade 091 Light Ivory, which is the lightest shade. That's the only complaint I have about this foundation, is there is not a big shade range. So I know there are people that are paler than me out there, and I mean, I'm pretty fair, but I mean, I'm not that fair. So if this matches me, that's kind of sad for the people who are paler than me, because they can't find a shade in this foundation range. And also weren't many shades for people that are like darker African American skin tone either. So that is a big downfall for this foundation. This foundation claims to be a full coverage foundation that's enriched with a comfort serum, instant perfect coverage that lasts all day, sweat, heat, humidity, and transfer proof for up to 25 hours, and it's dermatologist tested. So I'm not going to wear this foundation for the full 25 hours because I honestly don't wear makeup that long, so I'm going to wear it for as long as I possibly can and how long I usually wear it in a day. But I think that will still give an accurate prediction of how long this will last. So today I'm going to be applying this foundation actually in two different ways. I'm going to be applying this side of my face with the Beauty Blender. It's actually one of my favorite tools to apply foundation because it just sort of thins it out and makes it look less cakey. I love this product. And then with the other side of my face, I'm going to be using the Sigma F80 Flat Kabuki brush. Now, another favorite foundation brush that I love to use is the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. But I feel like a lot of people own these two products and they're very different from each other, so I feel like people can get a pretty accurate prediction with either of these two products. So I'm just going to clip my hair back and then I'm going to get started applying the foundation. I can tell that it's kind of thick coming out the tube. So this is how much I'm going to be putting on your left, my right side of my face. Okay. Okay, that's how much I'm putting on right now. It is definitely full coverage, at least for me. Maybe a medium to full coverage for some people, but for me, it's pretty full. So this is the side applied with the foundation and the Beauty Blender. And this is the side with nothing at all on it. So I'm going to put about this much on my left side, your right side of my face. You probably will be able to see this side a little bit better. This used to be one of my favorite foundation brushes, but it's becoming less as my favorite just because it's so stiff and it applies a really full coverage. So if you like full coverage, you'll love this brush, but I don't like full coverage on an everyday basis. Okay, so this is the side using the Sigma F80 brush. And then this side is using the Beauty Blender. So far my first initial thoughts is that I really like it with the Beauty Blender the best. I tend to not like very full, thick, cakey coverage, and that's why I like the Beauty Blender so much for a lot of other products, is because that's what it does with a lot of other foundations. So I definitely like this side so far better than this side just after initial application. I know that on camera you probably can't tell, but like really up close I just feel like this side looks more perfected in a more natural way versus this side. I'm pretty picky with foundations, as you probably can tell. I have oily to combo skin, but I don't necessarily like super duper mattifying coverage foundations. I really like foundations that have a natural finish and look natural on the skin, but are more towards the matte side. So I love those demi-matte finish foundations. So I love the Urban Decay Naked Skin. I love the CoverGirl Outlast 3-in-1 foundation with the blue pump, and I also really love the Makeup Forever HD foundation, among a multitude of other foundations that I enjoy. So now I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on, and then I'll come back on and tell you some of my other initial thoughts. Okay, so I'm back with all my makeup on, and so far it's doing a fairly good job. It's not my favorite, but it's still doing pretty well. Now, I noticed that when it's set, It kind of has a little bit of a glowy finish, which was not what I was expecting, because I think 25 hours it's going to be matte. But it definitely has a little bit of a glow to it. I wasn't going to set my face with powder at all. I had no primer. I didn't put on any primer before this or moisturizer. And I wasn't going to set my face with powder either. But I decided I was at least going to set it with powder in my T-zone. So I put some on my forehead and my nose and my chin, because I was just noticing it was a little bit glowy, which is kind of interesting for a long wearing foundation. And I felt like when I was touching my face, it's a little bit sticky. It's not too sticky because it's kind of setting right now, but just a little bit. And another thing that I noticed is that it sort of really kind of settles into pores easily. Now it's interesting because I have smile lines right here, and after a really long day, those smile lines really show, and the foundation really sinks into those smile lines. But right now, they're not sinking into them at all. Like, they're doing really well. So they're doing well with the wrinkly areas. Now I don't have that many parts that are wrinkly on my face, so it's obviously not getting into those areas, but it's definitely really, when you're up close, it's definitely sinking into my pores around my nose like crazy. I have really a lot of pores around the outside of my nose and on my nose. I have a little bit on my forehead occasionally, especially like this area and some on my chin. And it's definitely sinking into those areas, but it's also kind of sinking into the pores and little divots all around my face as well. I just feel like it's sort of sinking into divots and pores around my face that I would never ever notice. And it's not doing it intensely, because obviously the pores around the other areas of my face aren't that intense, but you can tell when you're obviously looking super duper up close in the mirror. Now far away, it looks pretty good. Like, I'm looking at this mirror right here, which is fairly far away from me. It's like about a couple feet away, and my skin looks pretty good. Like, I can't tell or see the pores that are sticking out, but I know that up close that you can kind of see them. And also, my blush went on fairly well. I'm wearing the Balm's Frat Boy, which I've been absolutely loving. Okay, so it's about 12:10 now, and I will update you guys as soon as I can throughout the day. Hey guys, so this is update number 1. I'm in my car right now. I just finished getting groceries and got some yummy food for lunch, so that's exciting. So I just wanted to let you guys see my face. It's still pretty good. It's not as glowy as it was this morning, so it does kind of die down a little bit, but that stickiness is still there. Oh, and the time, it's 2:33. So it's been about 2.5 hours, maybe a little bit longer, including before I put on the rest of my makeup and my eye makeup and stuff. So it's still pretty strong, but you probably can tell maybe a little bit more because I'm in the car and I'm like directly in the sun, but it's still really kind of sinking into my pores pretty bad. Like around my nostrils, I don't know if you can tell, but it's just really caking up around my nose, the most especially. And quite a few foundations do that on me, but then it's just usually really easy to fix. I have to tend to go like this a lot to make it look a little bit less cakey. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty long lasting. It's not breaking up on me, which is a good thing. It just looks cakey on me, and it kind of is sticky. I hate that sticky, not set feeling. I just thought I'd give you an update on foundation. It's still going good. Still pretty much the same as it was like 2.5 hours ago. So that's really fantastic. I'll see you in like a couple seconds in YouTube land. Hey guys, so I thought I would do another update. It is 5:56, so it's almost 6 o'clock. And I wanted to do an update because I feel like I definitely need to blot my face. You can actually see, I'm using the front camera of my iPhone. You can definitely see where it's like sinking into some pores on my nose. It's just wearing off a lot around my nose. It's kind of still in places everywhere else, but it definitely needs a sheet blotter. So I'm just going to blot my face. I'm just going to use the Clean and Clear ones. Those are my favorite. So we can see how much this takes off. So this is how much on my cheeks, or my nose, I guess. So as you can see, a lot of oil is coming off on the blotting sheet. And I just noticed that a lot of the foundation came off on the tip of my nose, like this area, like the foundation was gone right there. And also I noticed like up here on my forehead, it really started to cake. So it's weird because it like kind of cakes up in certain places, and then on really oily areas of my face, it just like goes away. I also forgot to say in my last update that I felt like the areas where I put my blush, it actually looks really nice. Like, I don't know why I feel like the areas where I put the blush, like on my cheeks, it looked less porous and everything. And obviously, like along here, it doesn't look as porous as it does in the center of my face. My lip product has totally been worn off. My lips are so dry. But this is real life. Like, I'm not perfect all the time. The concealer I'm using is the Maybelline Fit Me one, and I really like it, but with this foundation, it like makes it stickier because actually the foundation sort of feels like sticky even after like how many hours. So I really like to, you know, test this product without anything at all to really just test it and see what it does on its own. So the next time I will see you will probably be the end of this video where I will summarize some of my thoughts on this Rimmel foundation. So I'll see you in a couple of seconds. Okay, so this is my final check-in, and it is about 10:10 p.m. So I've had this foundation on for about 10 hours. And my final verdict is that it's good, but it's not bad. I would recommend a couple of things while wearing this foundation. First, I would definitely wear a primer with this foundation. I just feel like this foundation really shows off the pores and the unevenness of your skin. So by applying a primer underneath this foundation, it will definitely help out the unevenness in your skin. And the second thing that I would do is apply powder. Set this foundation, because this foundation still has that tacky feeling after about 4 hours. So definitely powder, and powder your concealer with this foundation, or else it will still be tacky throughout the day, and that annoys the crap out of me. This foundation wasn't the longest lasting foundation, but it was one of the longest at the same time, because definitely in my oily areas like my nose and my chin, this foundation definitely wore out, but kind of in the outside area, the perimeter of my face, it didn't wear off, and it did a fairly good job. Again, with a primer and powder, it will wear for much longer. The other thing I want to mention is that this is the lightest shade, and it is a pretty good match for me. It actually matches me perfectly. So if you are lighter than me, or if you have the same skin tone as me, but it's just more warm or more olive, this will not match you very well. And also, like I said, if you're lighter than me, they don't have shades that are paler than this. Also, I would highly recommend applying this with a beauty blender, because this stuff is super thick. There's so many foundations out there, so many new foundations that have that liquid watery texture, and I think that's one of the qualities I like in a foundation, because then it just feels like you hardly have anything on your face. Where this, because it's fairly thick, it just feels like cake face. It comes out of the bottle like a slug is kind of the best way to do it, where it's not super duper thick like the Revlon Color Stay, but it definitely doesn't drain out of the bottle like a watery thin foundation. So overall, would I repurchase this foundation if I ran out? Probably not. Is it a bad foundation? Absolutely not. I think you should try it out for yourself and see if it works out for your skin. I mean, a lot of foundations work so differently on every skin tone. I feel like even some people with oily skin who like certain foundations, it doesn't necessarily work for me. I would definitely try this out if you can find one that matches your skin tone, for sure. It's not my favorite foundation, but I think you should go try it for yourself to see if it works for you. So if you enjoyed this video or thought this video was super helpful for you, I would love if you could click the thumbs up button and like this video. Also, please subscribe to my channel and click that red button down below this video. That would mean the world to me. And also, comment down below in the comment section, what is your favorite drugstore foundation? I would love to know. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a really wonderful day. Bye everyone!